grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. Sergeant at Arms, deposit the colors.
Fire! Line, left, fire! Single file, to the rear, quick, fire! Left wheel.
I did have a serious side to my speech. People find the topic of South Africa quite interesting. I've lived in South Africa all my life, and that has been an interesting experience living in Africa. The country of South Africa is a mixture of a first world country and a third world country, and it has been quite an experience. The future, unfortunately, is quite uncertain, and I think that's why a lot of people like myself are looking to come to Canada, or wherever, in my case Canada, to experience another way of life and another climate. They tell me we've been lucky with the weather. Now, in Cape Town, where I lived, in winter it's really cold if it gets to plus 10 degrees Celsius. So I'm not really complaining, but I'm just waiting to see what it's like in winter. But I've got my jacket, don't worry. I thought I'd tell you a few interesting medical stories as well. People often see shows on TV and they think it's quite fun to be a doctor. Well, at times it is. My very first patient when I was an intern was a gentleman who weighed over 250 kilograms. That's quite a lot of pounds. And he also had a very good sense of humor. And at the provincial hospital I worked, you didn't really have a choice of your doctor. You just got to whoever was on call. And I walked up to him, introduced myself, and at the top of his voice he looks at me, he says, "Geez," he says, "I'm the biggest guy in this hospital and I got the smallest damn doctor." As you heard from Madge, I have worked in a few different hospitals and in various departments. The name of that hospital, Madge, was Groote Schuur Hospital. And as you heard, it was where the first heart transplant was performed. I thought I'd tell you a little story from some of the departments I've worked in. The casualty or emergency department, that's where usually you find the best humor and most of the blood and gore as well. There's a story about this drunk gentleman who was walking down the road and he staggered across the road and got knocked down. He had this nice bottle of whiskey in his coat pocket, all the way down his coat pocket. And he was rushed to the emergency and he was unconscious, and they revived him in the emergency room. And he felt this damp feeling running down his leg and he says, "Oh gee, I hope that's blood." I also worked in a maternity hospital, and you remember when your kids used to bite their nails, you always tell them some story. Well, one mother told her kid that if he carried on biting his nails, his stomach would swell up and it would burst. And he walked into this maternity hospital and looked at all the pregnant women there and said, "I know what you've been doing." The children's hospital I worked at was very interesting. It's quite rewarding working with kids. And there's the story of these four brothers, and only one of them was normal. And he was really jealous. He had one brother who had a lisp. He had another brother who had a little twitch. And the other brother had water on the brain. Now he was really jealous because his mother kept on paying attention to his other brothers and never to him because he didn't have any problems. So he decided to play a trick on them, and he took them all into the hot tub for a jacuzzi, and he put the temperature at about 60 degrees. And the first brother gets in, he says, "Oh, that's well." And the second brother says, "Oh, great." And the third brother says, "Lovely." He was the one with water on the brain. Anyway, then he wanted to play a trick on them, so he put the temperature up to 100 degrees to boiling point. And it was really steaming. And the first brother says, "Ooh, that's really steamy." And the second brother with a twitch says, "Yeah, really getting too hot in here." And the third brother with water on the brain said, It's quite interesting for me that the founders of the Legion, as I understand, were veterans of the Boer War, which was fought in South Africa. But I take it there are no survivors of that war around today. And then came the First World War, and that reminds me of a story about the Scottish regiment. Now, as I'm sure most of you know, the Scottish soldiers were always led into battle by someone playing the bagpipes. And this one regiment was in the trenches, and they were about to launch an attack on the Germans. And the commander said, "Pipe Major, Company A, start playing." And he got his bagpipes going, and he jumped over the front of the trench, and all the people in that unit went ahead, and they were all shot by the Germans. So the commander says, "Pipe Major, Company B, start the bagpipes." And his platoon went after him, and he played a tune, and they charged, and they were all shot down by the Germans. So the commander says, "Pipe Major, Company C, start off the bagpipes, and this time play something the Germans like." I think it's important that people of my generation never forget the sacrifices that young people who were our age made during the world wars. And we shouldn't forget them because hopefully then we can prevent a third world war. They say that laughter is the best medicine. At the rate you're going, you'll run me out of business. So keep it up, and thank you again for allowing me to speak this evening.
We'll now proceed to the closing ceremonies. If you would please rise. Sergeant at Arms, prepare to march off the colors.
Ready? Ho! Single file, here, folks. Quick, march.
Where's George? Where's George?
Right wheel. Mark out in front. Ready? Halt. In the line. Left. Turn. Hurry. Color. Ready? Full shooting. Ready? Fire. Middle line. Left. Turn. Single file. To the rear. Quick. Fire. Left wheel. Ready? Halt. Order. Fire. Ball out.
That concludes our program for this evening. I would just like to mention there's entertainment next door in the club room, and I'd like to thank you all for coming. Thank you very much. Well, thank you. Thanks. That was very
Thank you.